He says, even if we kept the picks, do you guys trust this front office to make the right picks? Question mark. Foster, Thomas, McGlinchey, Kinlaw. They're terrible at top of the draft picks. I think he means top picks at the top of the draft. And I will add to this before I shoot it down to you, Jesse, first, and then I go to you, Larry. I will add to this that I did see that the 49ers in Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's regime have never given a second contract to a first-round draft pick on this team. Solomon Thomas didn't get one. Reuben Foster didn't get one. Mike McGlinchey didn't get one. Nick Bosa's
yet to get one.
But he's yet to get one, right? Javon Kinlaw hasn't got one. Brendan Ayuk is also yet to get one, but he hasn't gotten one yet. And then finally, that leaves us with Trey Lance, who's likely not going to get one. Jesse, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not as into the whole conversation of, well, they could have gotten this player and they could have gotten that. Who knows what they would have drafted? There's no way to know. And there's also no way to know how that player fits on the 49ers. Career trajectories change. If you change things by milliseconds, career trajectories change. If Parsons comes to the 49ers, does he tear his Achilles? There's just things that you don't know how they would play out. The assumption is, oh, well, if this player had gone here, he would have been great. He was great here, so he'd fit in good here. We don't know those things. So I'm not going to cry over spilt milk when it comes to the picks. But for me, the real issue at hand is, do I trust the 49ers to make the right decision at quarterback repeatedly? And right now, that answer is a resounding no.
Well said, Krug.
Well, I mean, I just think perspective has to be had here, okay? Did the Niners, go all in on Trey Lance, and for the moment it looks like a bad decision? Sure. But that's still for the moment. It's a moving target. His career's not over. The whole thing has not been defined yet. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you want to call out Shanahan and Lynch for not picking the right quarterback or not making the right decision, that's totally fine. And it looks totally like that right now. But at the end of the day, it's like, to me, it's about, do you win? It's like, what if you had great picks, but you lost? They've had some bad picks, but they've won. And they haven't won the Super Bowl, but they've been in 3 of the last 4 NFC title games, and they've gone to a Super Bowl. And I bring this up, guys, because if you said to most people, who is on top of the football world, I think most people would say it's the Chiefs, right? Mm-hmm. And Brett Veach is their general manager. Who was his top pick in 2018? Do you guys remember? I'll remind you. It was Breeland Speaks.
Oh, I do remember this.
Who is now going to get cut by the Niners in a matter of days. That was their 2018 top pick.
Who was their 20 passer on Brady too?
Who was their 20
in New England?
Who was their top pick in 2019? McCole Hardman. Who was their top pick in 2020? First round even. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So what, should Brett Veach, the general manager of the Chiefs, be fired? No. They've gone to the Super Bowl, 3 times in the last few years, and they've won 2. So the draft is one of many, not many, one of a few avenues to improve your team, right? Free agency matters, the draft matters, top to bottom, and obviously trades matter. And Brett Veach has done kind of a spotty job at the top of the draft, to be honest. And I guess you could probably make the same claim about John Lynch, but it's really only part of the equation. It's not the entire equation. So it's like, if you want to say John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan didn't get this one right, I'm with you, and I'm not going to run from it. But if you're going to then go to the next point and be like, Lynch needs to go, Shanahan's awful. No. They're one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl. They've been in 3 of the last 4 NFC Championship games. They have a good young quarterback right now. And I think Shanahan's a top-tier young coach, and I think Lynch is a top-tier general manager. But there's no doubt in the present that draft pick and what they gave up for Trey Lance, guys, it's indefensible, I guess would be the word I would use.
See, but it would be defensible. Like, you could defend it if we knew what Trey Lance was today. Like, if
Right.
they had really poured their efforts into Trey Lance and was like, listen, like, Trey Lance just truly isn't good. I know people want to be like, well, we know he's a bust. No, we don't know he's a bust. If we knew without a doubt, we gave it 2 full seasons, he's just not improving, there's nothing we can do, it's not going to work out here, fine. But when you have a report that comes out that says after their rookie season, they're willing to move on from him, it's like, hold on a second. You just traded all these picks for him. You haven't even.
By the way, for the sake of just because I know what you're referring to, and I want to clarify this just before we move on in the conversation.
Yeah.
Did you interpret Kawakami's last February as 2022 February?
Yes.
I did interpret it as 2023, but I did understand your point because you would have written in February if it was.
Listen, if Kawakami, and he may come out and say he messed up, and I would love to hear that, but he is a veteran in this game. He knows what that means. He knows what that implies. If I'm speaking past tense about this February, I would say, yeah, in February they put him up for trade, or February 2023, or this February he went. There's so many ways that you could have said it. When you say last February in the current year that you're in, you're talking about 2022. So either it was a complete botch on his part, but I'm going to give him more credit than that. I think he's too much of a veteran to make that mistake if that's exactly what he meant. I don't believe that that's what he meant at all. Either way, it really doesn't matter. The point is that overall, we don't know what Trey Lance is. And the 2023, should Brock Purdy start, my issue was never with the 2023 season and should Brock Purdy start, because that is a resounding yes. He earned it. I don't know really how you can argue against it. It was more, what did they do in 2021 to make sure that they figured this out right away? That was always my issue. It's always going to be my issue. They can't go back and fix it. And then to hear that this whole thing for quarterback 2, like now we've got people holding water for the 49ers and are like, oh, okay, well, hold on a second. Sam Darnold really has been clearly better for 10 days. Oh, word, because you haven't reported that. I haven't heard that. When he went 1 for 7, were you saying he was clearly better 6 days ago? No. This was clearly decided 5 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. They've been out on Trey Lance. It was a stacked deck the whole time. There was nothing that Trey Lance really could have done to win quarterback 2, in my opinion. So what was the point of this whole thing?